Welcome to Steelfest 2019, an extreme metal fest with not only black metal bands, of which this is probably most known for, but also some quality death metal. Now, many of you, especially those of, say, previous generations, you know bands such as Immolation, which we have here. We are lucky to have these veterans of death metal, and I could even add underrated as such. So welcome. Nice to have you here back in Finland.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
We talked a little bit, you were like already in Europe prior to coming to Finland, and you were not exactly enjoying a warm holiday. How is this possible?
Yeah, it was cold. We did only 3 fests for this one. So we did Metal Cultures in France last week. We did Graveland in Holland on Saturday, and then we had a few days off in Amsterdam, like we spoke about. So it was cold there. But New York weather's a little squirrely now anyway. So it's a lot of rain, very cold, and just unpredictable. So, we're used to it. Just that we were just hoping it would be nicer. So.
Let's talk about, like you mentioned, you are coming from New York. How does touring and playing shows differ from America versus Europe?
If you would have asked me that question like 30 years ago, I would have said Europe was just so much more, passionate about the music as opposed to touring in the States. But now it's obviously there's differences from country to country and city to city, but I think overall, both areas are pretty strong now for us. We just did a week of shows with on that Decimal tour in the United States, and it was Morbid Angel, Blood Incantation, and Necron, and we did the tail end of that. So we jumped on for the last week, and it was phenomenal. The shows were packed, the audiences were just on fire, so it was awesome. And then the 2 shows we did here were perfect. Good crowds, good response, and I think today is probably going to be the same. I think it's going to be exceptional tonight. So. We hope.
You're veterans of death metal, but you also get into these kind of fests where all the extreme metal, kind of go hand in hand, or it's just like a big bowl of salad. How do you feel as opposed to playing just death metal gigs? Having these kind of mixed mashups.
Well, it depends. Generally I find a lot of the bigger European festivals have a mixed bag. They'll have more of the mainstream metal stuff, and then they'll have some of the underground stuff. And then there's festivals, of course, like this festival, like Brutal Assault in Czech Republic or Obscene Extreme, that do mostly primarily underground stuff. So they cater to that niche of people. So either way, it's good. Regardless, it's good to get the exposure. You're hitting 10, 20, 30,000 kids in one event, which is impossible to do on a death metal tour, show by show. So, more bang for your buck.
Exactly.
So
you've been doing your music and touring for more than 30 years, so you're a veteran band with a capital B.
Been a long time,
Yeah. How does age and all this, getting older affect your life as a band?
Well, I think at this point in the game for us, I think we're more focused. I think we're just as on fire now as far as our passion for the music and our drive as we were when we started. I think, in some ways we're still like the 16-year-old kids up here, because we enjoy it so much. We really enjoy, getting out on the road and touring and playing shows and meeting people everywhere and speaking to people like yourself and just meeting like-minded people all over the world. It's a really unique profession, if you want to call it that. It's very unique, and we're very fortunate to be doing it. So, we've made a lot of mistakes over the years, of course, and we've learned from most of them.
You survived anyway.
We survived, so. But the fact is, we're all here, and I think we have probably the strongest lineup that we've ever had as a band. Everybody involved is on the same page. I think everybody's just very driven, like I said. So age is nothing. Age is just something that you get caught up with up here. It means nothing. If you get caught up on the number, then I guess it'll affect you. But we never think of it in those terms. We're just always on fire to go out and do more stuff and put out another record and do some more shows, and always.
do you ever have this sort of a writer's block that you just hit the wall and you're like, man, we're going nowhere with our music? What then happens?
Absolutely. Every record we hit it. Bob hits a writer's block every record. Lyrically, I hit writer's blocks. So does Bob. I mean, so it happens. You know, you have to work through it, or you have to just step away from it and come back when you're really inspired. You know, we had a similar situation when we were writing the Atonement record. You know, we had about 4 or 5 songs in. Or maybe even less than that, I don't remember. And then that was like, Bob kind of hit a writer's block for a while, and he didn't really jump back in until about 6 months later, you know. So it happens. I mean, I think it's a normal thing for everyone.
Regarding that, some people always like wonder like what is going with the bands that are not touring or not making an album. Like, how does the time between actually recording an album and going then back on tour, what did you do back then? How is financially possible? Can you?
Oh, okay. Well, basically, we all had full-time jobs, you know, from the day we started. So it was a juggling act, you know, balancing that world with this world, you know. So we kind of made a lot of sacrifices along the way to make sure that we can still follow our, you know, what we're passionate about, which is, of course, the music. So, you know, Bob and I have been fortunate throughout the years to always have jobs that were very flexible and allowed us to do this. Otherwise, it would have been a lot harder. We've done this bunch. But, I mean, that being said, we've been at a point now for the last like 2 or 3 years where we're trying to exist off the band, you know, which is, you know, it's a struggle even still. Even 31 years in, it's still a struggle. So, having a lot of shows and doing more tours and, you know, just getting out there more is kind of what helps, you know. So that's the, you know, I think that's the way to go about it now that we're, you know, not working full-time jobs, you know. In the past, we'd be like, okay, we do a U.S. tour, come home, work for a couple of months, come over here, do a European tour, go home, work for a few months. So, just living in New York, you had to have a job. You know, this music didn't pay the bills at all. At all.
It's not that big of a genre.
So I know there's a lot of misconceptions out there. People think, oh, you guys, you know, you're putting out records.
Living the dream.
You guys are living a dream. You're superstars, but that's totally not true. And you speak to any musician, with the exception of a few bands. There are a few bands who have broken through, like Cattle Corpse and Behemoth and bands like that, who've worked hard and they've kind of made it to that level where they could live off the music, which is awesome. It's inspiring to us to see bands get to that level, you know. So it was a long road, and, you know, we've kind of crossed over into that world, but we're, you know, we still do side work and we still kind of do things when we're home to kind of make extra money. So you know, it's still a struggle, but, you know, it's a good struggle. It's a struggle we enjoy. So.
Talking about Cannibal Corpse, I had a little interview session with them like last summer. That's when I actually figured out that pretty much like you guys being 30 years in the business, but they have put out like album every 2 years, like on average.
Yeah.
So it must be kind of a consuming. So
they're hardworking guys. They're very close friends of ours, and, you know, but they are extremely hardworking guys, and they're like totally focused on the music.
But do you think because they have like kind of a way, in a sense, more extreme lyrical topics, but also kind of the types that, you know, invoke these ideas, parental advisory, explicit lyrics, while you've chosen a little bit of a different path? Do you think this has affected how you've been positioned in the death metal scene?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the fact that we never did enough. You know, I never felt in the past we got the push that we deserved from, you know, the labels that we were on at the time. You know, not to knock the labels, we were on great labels. You know, just that we were just one of those bands that just never got that, you know, that push. You know, so. I think we're in a good place now. Nuclear Blast has been awesome with us. I mean, they've really gone out of their way to kind of try to push the band as much as they can. You know, we've also learned throughout the years, you can't only rely on the label. You know what I'm saying? We have to, you know, do a lot of the work behind the scenes on our own. You know, Bob does a lot of video work at home on the side. You know. So he did the last video for us, and he's you know, has another video he's working on for us. So we felt like, okay, well, you know, let's just make it happen. You know, it's like you have to make it happen on your own terms. You know, so that's what we're doing now. So you know, that's the way it has to be. But you know, like you know, Cannibal Corpse has always been consistent. You know, and lyrically, yes, they're very different from us. But I mean, you know, they're an extreme band like we are. We're different musically than they are, but
Also lyrically.
and lyrically as well. You know, but I can't explain. I don't know the reasons why some bands get further and some bands don't. You know, I mean, we're happy to still be here. You know, we're happy to see those guys at the level. And, you know, they were always one of those bands back in the day. You know, once they started getting bigger and bigger, you know, like, well, this is going to be one of the bands. You know, back then that we felt would kind of break through and kind of start to do bigger stuff, and they have. You know, and it's great. It's great to see your friends kind of, you know, succeed and move on to that next level. You know? And they're the kind of band that helps their friends. I mean, they've helped us tremendously in the past. They've given us tours, they've invited us out multiple times, and they're humble guys as well. So, you know, that's like a model band as far as like how you should act, how you should treat other bands, and such. You know, so you know.
All right. Talking about videos, I just a couple of days ago I watched some recent video. I don't actually remember the name. My memory is what it is, but I started to think that how much music business, especially metal music, has changed since 80s and 90s when we had music television and music videos was everything. When you get played, it doesn't matter if it was Immolation, it doesn't matter if it was Morbid Angel or Cannibals or whatever. It was kind of a big thing to be on Headbangers Ball.
Of course.
And now we don't have the world, but we have YouTube, we have Facebook video. How in your eyes or opinion things have changed for the better or worse?
Well, things have changed tremendously, and you could argue on both sides. You know, back then when we started, there was no internet. You know, so we came from a completely different world. We came from a world of writing letters and sending out cassette tapes that you would record in your house, and tape trading with tape traders, and learning about new bands through either fanzines that were you know, hand done by fans like yourself all over the globe. So we created our own network, we created our own internet before the internet existed, and it was pretty fucking strong. It was a pretty powerful movement, I have to say. Thinking back to those days, and when I looked through the boxes of mail, because I kept all the letters I've gotten from fans over the years, and I just have boxes and boxes of mail. And
you don't give them to your friends like, hey, you get this shirt.
Yeah. No. I mean, we all answered the mail together, and you know, I have all the letters, and it's so mind blowing to see. I mean, you actually had to work to discover new music. It's a lot easier today. So I guess that's the plus side. You have so many different outlets like YouTube and Spotify and this and that and Bandcamp, and the internet in general has helped, I guess, connect everybody a lot more, and it makes it easier to share music and to share ideas and to connect with your fans. I mean, you know, Facebook and Instagram, it's a great tool to connect with the fans. Prior to that, what did you have? There was no connection with the fans until you got to their city. And if you didn't come to Finland back in the 80s, well, then you guys were fucked. You didn't get to see us, you didn't get to meet us, there was no YouTube. You had to maybe order a VHS tape from a tape trader in the US who happened to videotape us at a show. So my point is, it was more challenging then, but it was also more rewarding, I think, for us. You know, it was a different kind of world back then. So moving forward now, I mean, yes, things are a lot easier. People are much more connected. So I think that allows the scene to grow and to thrive. You know what I'm saying? Even more. So, you know, no complaints. You know, at all. Yeah, I'm sure it has its downsides, as we all know. But we'll focus on the positive for now. So
this is one thing that have bothered me for a few years. Streaming services such as Netflix and etc., Amazon and whatever, they have grown bigger, and they have their own stand-up comedians and whatever shows in addition to movies and TV series. But music business is still stuck basically in the VHS and DVD. They never made it big in Blu-ray, not to mention the streaming services. Like, would you think there would be possible, or would it even make sense to have, for example, metal music as well on streaming services as live for people who cannot see bands such as Immolation live? Would that be an idea?
It would be great. It would be great if they had a channel like MTV started out as a channel, but like you said, maybe not. Maybe you could do videos and live shows interspersed. So you can have some extreme metal videos from different bands, and then you can have, hey, here's here's Cannibal Corpse live in Los Angeles, California on this date, and have maybe the whole show or a portion of the show, and then move on to some more videos. Would be a great idea. I can almost bet probably everybody here would probably at least, if not subscribe to it, at least go on there and check it out. At one point or another. It's a brilliant idea.
What do you think about music streaming services? Back in the days, some people were divided, like whether it's a good thing, like kind of advocating piracy, and people wouldn't be buying CDs. But since people are not buying CDs or LPs today, they used to be. So is streaming services, is it helping you when you're touring, or is it still the enemy?
Here's the thing. If you ask that question to someone in a different genre, they'd probably be very negative about the streaming. But I find in the metal genre, the metal fans like myself actually like physical product. So they will maybe listen to something online to get a sense of how the new music is, or check out a band. But I think if they like it, they will buy a CD. You go to any festival, there's always a metal market, CDs, vinyl. People in the metal scene still buy vinyl, they still buy CDs.
And even tapes.
And even tapes. Sure, some people do download digitally, I have friends who download digitally. I've never downloaded anything digitally. I buy CDs, I buy vinyl, so that's because I'm old school. I like a physical product, I like to open up the CD, read the lyrics, I like to check out the artwork.
Which you don't usually have with streaming services.
Exactly, so I think the metal genre is unique in that sense. I think the metal fans support the bands they like. They're very supportive of bands that they're passionate about. And that's how we were when we were younger. We go to shows. You throw down all the money you earn, for the last couple of weeks on T-shirts and whatever kind of swag the bands had. I remember the first time I saw Venom. In 1986, they played in New York City. It was before At War with Satan came out, I believe. It was in between that time. It was between At War with Satan and Possessed, I think. And it was the first time I had seen him. I was 16, maybe going on 17, and I went with a good friend of mine, Will from Mortician. We were both young kids, we were really into Venom at the time. And man, we got up there, we saw all the merchandise, we bought one of everything. We bought the jersey, the T-shirts, they had a tour book, they had pens, they had a demo cassette with some of the Possessed songs on it. But that's how I think metal fans still are. They come out to our shows, and a lot of times we'll be at the merch table in the U.S. Sometimes selling our stuff, and man, the kids come up and they're like, I want one of these. So
kind of like candy store.
Yeah, but that's how I am too. If I like a band, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, I got that. So I think it's just something unique to the metal scene. So it's cool. So good question. So it's definitely cool that you brought that up.
Cool. So about lyrics, you not exactly a band with corpses and serial killers and all that stuff. You have dealt with religions, anti-Christianity, if I'm correct, but also social views.
Absolutely.
Different kind of angles which are not that typical in death metal.
Sure.
Why did you choose and still choose to go that way? That's a tricky question.
Well, no. I mean, we wrote heavily about our views on religion in the past. How we saw it all, our take on everything. Not just Christianity. We came from a Christian, a Catholic point of view. But I mean, I think we, kind of went against religion as a whole. Just the whole idea of religion and just the negativity it brings to the world in so many ways. Now, you could argue, for some people it does bring a positive aspect to their lives, and that's fine. I'm just looking at the big picture, over the years. And then, I think we said a lot of, what we could say about that, for the first 4 or 5 months, So then it was time to kind of, go into new territory. And, I think we live
just giving me the signal.
I think we live in a dark world, and I think there's a lot of that around us at any given point, you know. So we drew from that, you know. We just kind of looked around us at what's happening in the world, you know, and you know where we live and around the world, and how people are, and just that darker side of humanity. And there's a wealth of inspiration there, you know. And you know, we've moved in that direction just because it was, I think for us it worked really well, you know. And there's a way to do it, there's a way not to do it. We're not a political band, so we never wanted to cross into those waters, you know, at all. But, you know, we have very strong opinions on just the way things are going in the world, you know, and how people act, you know, and how people react to certain things and how people treat each other. And there's definitely, I think, a darker side to human nature, and that's what we explore, you know. I think that's, you know, what we've been exploring, I think, since the beginning. Although it focused more on religion back then, and now we've brought it in the scope, you know.
This brings me to one of the last questions. Now, political correctness is very much on the table, so to speak, all around the world. The United States of America is probably one of the most heated places when it comes to, when we're talking about genders, we're talking about safe spaces, we're talking about violence and all kind of topics like which can be written. It's all about this kind of freedom of speech and all that stuff. Do you think this is dangerous waters when we're like denying certain topics to be dealt with, or is it just a healthy way?
Of course it is. I mean, you know, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. You know, whether I like your opinion or not, you have the right to voice your opinion. So once you start controlling that, you know, we're right back into the 1930s again, you know, so you can't go that way. That's just my opinion, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think there's a lot of divisiveness in our country, and they use these things to divide people, whether it's race, religion, politics. They're all forces of division to me.
So basically divide and conquer.
Well, basically, you know, when people are divided, they can't unify and address a positive good for all, you know. Everybody's too busy divided and squabbling over nonsense, you know, and they miss the big picture. And that's always been the intention, you know, that's always been the intention of I guess, the elites, or whatever you want to call it. Because that's just the way it is. It's just the way the world has been. That's the way our country has been since it was founded, day one. It's always been like that. Divide and conquer is the MO. So yeah, I think if we can get past a lot of the divisiveness, maybe we can get some positive things done. So everybody's happy, you know. Everybody has different needs and wants, you know. I don't care who it is, and you could have something happen and you can have 10 people look at it and take 10 different things out of it, you know? So that just tells me everybody takes different things out of life. So, you know, there's just not one shoe for everybody, you know what I'm saying? You can't, it's not one fit for everybody. So,
yeah, people should have learned it from the fairy tales.
So it's never black and white, it's always gray, and I think therein lies, you know, the problem, because it's very tricky, you know what I'm saying? So you can't please everybody, but you know, it's that type of thing. You know?
We have actually today a very dangerous kind of a topic today, like whether you're left or right, you still have this kind of a same goal. Like everybody wants a better life.
Everybody wants
for
a better
themselves.
life for themselves, for their kids, for the future. Everybody wants to have a roof over their heads, food in their mouths, and you want to be able to do what the fuck you want to do, as long as you're not interfering with someone else's business. That's it. I don't care who you are. I mean, that's basically it. It comes right down to that. But it's such a fucking hard thing for some reason. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why that is. So I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah. So the one last question: if you could change one thing with Immolation or by yourself, what would it be?
Well, probably be a lot of things. The list is probably too long.
Right. Hey, I thank you very much for your time. All the best for you.
Thank you.
And you people which still have missed Immolation, change your course. Check out the band. Awesome, dark, death metal, genuine veteran stuff. Check yourself
Settle like
and
a
the
pro.
stuff for your radio. So
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Now we gotta go see the Finnish fans and meet and greet.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Thank you so
very
much.
much.
I hate to rush you, but now they're rushing.